New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring. And hello again, dear ones. Reverend Robert with you here. It's a Friday night at 5 p.m. Mountain Time, and that means it is time for the good news. Our weekly collection of stories that I found inspiring, and I believe you may as well, and be able to take these into your weekend, share them with your friends, your family, let everybody know what you're learning and what we share. So, and speaking of sharing with your friends and family, please hit that share button, hit that like button, let your friends and family know what we're doing here on a Friday night on the New Thought Media Network. And I want you to know this has been a really wild week. I understand that. And so we're going to focus completely on good news stories that have nothing to do with all the other stuff that went on in the country this week. Deal enough? We can go back to talking about that stuff later. All right, first story up tonight. This is history making. An all-black climbing team has made it to the peak of Everest. Now, not all members of the team actually summited, but they were all in base camp. They all did the work. They all made sure that they got that the ones that were able to get up there got up there. It was a 7-member team. Now, I found this really, I did not know this. Up till this point, only 10 people of color have summited the highest peak, not counting Sherpas. So we're going to go with black here. Up to this point, only 10 black people had summited. Only one female, only one was a woman, and only one from America. Well, this all changed on May 12th when the team that was led by Philip Henderson, that's Philip there on the left, he did not able to summit, but he's an instructor in Nepal at the Kumbha Climbing Center. And so he trains a lot of people to get up there, and he came close but didn't make it all the way to the top, but the rest of his team did. He was the leader of the expedition. Now, among the team, you could find people from all over the United States. One man was from Kenya. Their ages ranged from 29 to 60. And this is really actually a big deal. We want to celebrate and give a big shout out, a big kudos to everybody that was on the team. The article I see here doesn't have their names, and I wasn't able to find all their names anywhere online. So if you can, by all means, please let us know that. Drop that in the comments, and feel free to chat along as we go, folks. If you'd like to add a comment or chat in the chat box as we go to this evening, please feel free to do so. Your comments are always welcome here on New Thought Media Network and on the good news. Okay, our next story jumps out at me as I'm doing my research. Big Brothers Big Sisters received $122.6 million donation from Mackenzie Scott. If you don't know who Mackenzie Scott is, she's Jeff Bezos' ex-husband, and she has been on a mission since the two of them divorced to pretty much give away everything she got in the divorce settlement. And every time we turn around, Mackenzie's doing some good work. This one really struck me in today's broadcast, in the morning broadcast, Ministers Talking Shit. We were having a discussion about what can we do as religious scientists, as people of faith, in light of the current world experiences. And what we came to was Big Brothers Big Sisters. being a mentor, turning and supporting kids that are at risk or having a tough childhood, need the mentoring that comes with big brothers, big sisters. In this article here, we've got a quote: mentoring is an integral part of the solution, including post-secondary readiness, social emotional learning, and a strong sense of belonging and inclusion. This is the largest single donation the organization has ever received in its 118-year history. 118 years Big Brothers and Big Sisters have been around. This is amazing. Congratulations. I'm happy for them. And thank you, Mackenzie, for continuing to do what you do, being a good human. And she's continually being given money to really good causes. Hey, speaking about people that give money to really good causes, we don't know who the next giver is, but it's a story that we cover here on the Good News quite often. It's been happening since the pandemic started. Maybe it was happening before the pandemic started, but we weren't hearing about it. But since the pandemic did, we're just over 2 years on that now. In the last 2 years, we've heard this story a lot of times. This time it's a Jennifer Vernasio. She's from Cranston, Rhode Island. Was actually late to her shift to work because she had to drop off her 3-year-old daughter, couldn't find a sister, had to wait for an older child to come home, all these things. Got to her shift late. The first table left her an $810 tip on a $48 tab. 810. All right. Jennifer was shocked and she was in disbelief. Her manager helped her to see that, no, this is real. And here you go. And let's get you that money. She said in her 20 years of working in the restaurant industry, she's never received this large of a tip. They never got the name of the couple. They even waved to her as they left, but nobody really knows who these folks are. Jennifer's going to use the money to treat her kids a little and pay off some debt and pay off some bills. Congratulations, Jennifer. And thank you if by any weird chance you're one of those people that left that tip. On behalf of Jennifer and all of us on planet Earth, thank you for your generosity. Thank you for your sharing. You know, folks, it doesn't have to be a huge number. Next time you go out, throw an extra $1 on the table, throw an extra $5 on the tip. If you can afford to go out these days and eat in restaurants, I think it's worth it. My wife and I make a habit of that as well. Someday we're going to do that. We're going to leave $1,000 or something. All right. Another great story we found. If you've ever been to Lake Tahoe, you know how beautiful it is. Well, in the last 2 years, a nonprofit called Clean Up the Lake has restored 72 miles, which is the entire shoreline of the lake. They've restored that by picking up trash. They've collected 24,797 pieces of litter. The total weight was over 25,000 pounds of garbage, of trash. Now, sometimes this is everything from small pieces of plastic to watches and cameras, to wedding rings and diamond rings, to complete wallets, all kinds of things that people lost and that washed up on the shores of the lake. They were said, one of their executive director, Colin West, said, ultimately, what we hope people remember is that the length of one group of individuals was willing to go in order to protect their home and their planet. And in turn, people should ask themselves how they are choosing to contributing to preserving our environment today. This was all funded by the Tahoe Blue Vodka, the Tahoe Fund, and Nevada's Lake Tahoe license plate program. It was made, and with matching funds, spent a couple $100,000 over the last couple of years getting this project done. Kudos to everyone involved. If you'd like to learn more, they're not going to stop with Lake Tahoe. The group Clean Up the Lake, they have plans to clean up Donner Lake, Fallen Lake, and Fallen Leaf Lake, sorry, and those two lakes. Sorry, I thought there were 3, but there's 2. Donner Lake, Fallen Leaf Lake, and both in the Tahoe Basin. and they're going to start, oh, and a cleanup of June Lake. I'm sorry, there it is. So there are 3 more lakes they're going to do. You can check them out at cleanupthelake.org. We'll leave links in the show notes for you. And speaking of the show notes, we leave links in the show notes all the time to find these stories and learn more about other stories that we don't have the time to cover. We really do love the goodnewsnetwork.org. I'll encourage you to go over and visit them and give them the love and attention that they deserve. They do a great job of curating all these stories and more, and then we pick out the ones we want to focus on and highlight and bring them to you there as well. All right, I'm Rev Robert. This is the Good News. We need to take a quick break and let our sponsors say hello and let me take a breath, and we'll be right back with more on Friday nights and now the Good News. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Stay tuned. And we're back with more of the Good News here on the New Thought Media Network. I'm Rev Robert. Thanks for being with us this evening, folks. Please do hit that like, share, and subscribe buttons. Let your friends know what we're doing here tonight. And every week we find a unique and different collection of stories. This week, I think it's pretty wild. We found there were all kinds of animal stories. Now, you all know I love a good animal story, and this is one we've been following for a couple of years now. A couple of years back, there was a real huge drop in the number of monarch butterflies migrating from North America to Central and Southern America as normal. Well, last year we reported how that was bouncing back. We've also reported how we're seeing increased numbers across North America. Well, this year, and we've identified 125 times or fold increase in Western monarch butterfly populations in America. Now they're reporting over a 35% increase have been recorded in the number of monarchs arriving in Mexico already this year. Now, migrating animals, folks, you know, they don't just pick a date on the calendar and say, hey, pack up, it's time to go. It changes year to year. And one of the ways that we measure these things is over more time than just what each year says. Now, this year, the pine trees in west of Mexico City, which normally see 5 or 6 acres of land covered by these butterflies. This year it was over 7 acres. Last year it was just under 6, 5.8. And what happens is all these butterflies, they migrate down into Mexico and South America, and then they come on back up, and we see them all across North America. Last year, there was a very interesting way it happened. Most of the butterflies left North America early, like February instead of March. But what happened was there was a really weird heat wave in April last year that would have really damaged the species, and that didn't happen. Now, this year, some have left early and some haven't left just yet. And again, we want to remember every time we see these stories that this is part of Mother Nature. This is part of the natural ebb and flow of life. And I personally love monarch butterflies. My wife absolutely adores monarchs. So we kind of follow this story, and this is more good news. Another great news source that we use a lot is sunnyskies.com. And this next story comes from Sunny Skies off of Mallorca in Spain. A fishing vessel was trolling along, and they recognized there was a 39-foot humpback whale had been entangled in a whole bunch of illegal fishing nets. Now, there's no net fishing in that area. They're not sure exactly where where the whale picked up these nets, but it was to a point where it couldn't even open its mouth. The nets were so wrapped around its mouth that it couldn't even open it. They tried to cut the nets loose from the boat. That didn't work. Called in a couple of divers, and they were able to get the nets cut off. There's a video on this story as well. You can check that over at sunnyskies.com. Give them the love and attention they deserve as well. And there's a woman there, Gigi Torres, she's a biologist, a marine biologist. She was the one that got to do the cutting and was with the whale. There's great video footage of this. And she shared that after they were done, the whale kind of hung out for a while and was just with them, and everything was, but it took a little while for the whale to get its strength back before it started to swim away. I encourage you to check that out. And please check out sunnyskies.com. Check out the goodnewsnetwork.org, and anywhere you can find good news, share it with us. We'd love to hear the good news stories that you bump into. Send us an email, goodnews@ntmedia.org. Let us know if there's stories you find that you think we should cover, or if you'd like to come on to the program and share a story with us at some point. We'd love to have you come in and be a guest presenter, a guest host on one of the programs. Just reach out to us. Again, that's goodnews@ntmedia.org. goodnews@ntmedia.org. I'm saying good news. I'm saying good a lot because our next story is that good boy Toby story. Now, Toby is, we can say good boy because Toby is a canine. And the story here is that Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office were alerted last week to a Florida woman in her late 60s who suffers from dementia and had gone missing. And the deputy sent up aviation units and canine teams. Well, Deputy Craig Laras and his canine Toby, who is a full bloodhound, were searching a wooded area when they were able to find the woman. She was severely dehydrated, but she was able to, they were able to transport her to a hospital. She's okay. She's going to be okay. And Toby got a good boy. Toby got a whole bunch of good boys. I imagine he got a few extra treats when he got back to the sheriff's house as well. So we'll say it as well. Good boy, Toby. Thank you, Toby, for being on the planet and doing the work you do. See, folks, we really are all in this together. And when we talk about a world that works for all, I know I do, and others do, we forget that there's an extra word there, a world that works for all life. And Toby qualifies in that part. So we want to make sure that we're honoring him and saying thank you to Toby as well. All right, we're going to take another quick break here. Let some of our sponsors say hello. Let ourselves say thank you to our contributors and those that make this possible. But don't go away. We're going to be right back in just about 2 minutes with more good news stories. We got a whole bunch more of the good news to share with you here tonight. I'm looking for my video. There it is. We'll be right back. Stay with us. Stay tuned.
Thank you, Center for Spiritual Living Denver, for your continued support. Thank you, Center for Spiritual Living Midtown Atlanta, for your monthly contribution. Thank you, Center for Spiritual Living North Jersey, for your monthly contribution. And please help us welcome Om Center for Spiritual Living in La Mesa, California. Thank you for your monthly donation. Thank you, Center for Spiritual Living Seattle, for your most generous donation. And a special thanks to Hefferlin Foundation for your generous technology grant. And Suze Ajit, thank you for your very generous donation. And a super special thank you to Dr. Tracy Brown, RSCP. Thanks for being a super donor. And a big shout out to all our committed donors.
Yes. Thank you to all of our committed givers and our organizational sponsors. Thank you so much for making sure that we can continue to broadcast and do what we do to bring this mighty message, this inspiring message of peace, positivity, love, and empowerment across the planet. You're watching The Good News. If you'd like to get involved and be one of our committed givers, head on over to the website, ntmedia.org/donate, or click on the donate button. Make it a monthly donation and we'll add your name to our thank you movie for the next quarter. All right, back into our stories for this evening. Every so often you might ask yourself, well, what did Gerald Ford ever do? He was a president, if you don't know that. Well, back in 1974, Gerald Ford signed a bill that created the Cuyahoga National Recreation Area in Ohio. It is now a national park. So it's the only national park in what many refer to as the Rust Belt, or in that area of the Midwest. Well, when he did that, there was a local garbage dump. Now, all of this started innocently enough back in the 1940s. The Creechy family had a plot of land between the Akron and Cleveland rivers, and they opened up a dump. Along the way, there weren't as many municipal waste management laws or regulations at the time. So along the way, a whole lot of companies started dumping a whole lot of really ugly stuff there. As you can see by our picture here, there's what it looked like in 1985. Now, what happened is when the National Park Service took over management of the land, they real quickly started getting lots of complaints that people were getting sick, and realized that a huge part of this area was a chemical wasteland. Rusted out barrels of sludge and slime and all kinds of stuff. Chris Davis, one of the ecologists there, said this was a toxic wasteland only a few decades ago, and we now find a diversity of species here today that is remarkable. We've, as a nation, the National Park Service, it's over 200 acres of the whole site. In that 50 acres that was polluted, they removed up roughly 20 feet of topsoil. And they just kept digging until they stopped finding barrels, until they stopped finding problems in the water. Now, the American public didn't pay for this, by the way. What the National Park Service did is they brought in a former Colorado State's Attorney General to litigate this. They sued a whole bunch of companies. Eventually, Ford Motor Company stepped up and voluntarily began to be a part of all this. They've contributed over $29 million to this cleanup. It's happened over decades now, but now it's as beautiful and as pristine as if it had never been touched. The full article is there on the goodnewsnetwork.org. Check it out. You can see, you can get more of the details of what has happened. But again, this is a multi-decade story, and I think it's just amazing. It's once again We can't limit ourselves to the thinking that got us to where we are. So many people looked at this land and just said it was worthless. It would never amount to, it was never going to be anything. Yeah, it took a long time and it took a lot of vision, and it's happened. So if you get a chance this year, if you live in Ohio, go see the Cuyahoga National Park. If you're traveling through the area, take an extra day and go visit what used to be a toxic waste dump, as it's turned into a beautiful, pristine, natural area. And this next story struck me as well. How many things do you have in your house that run on lithium? Quite a few, I would imagine. Well, researchers at the U.S. Department of Energy's Pacific Northwest National Laboratory have developed a way to, and this gets pretty technical. This is from the too technical for me stories, but ultimately they're using magnetic nanoparticles to capture these critical materials such as lithium and others, and they're doing this from various wastewater sources. So they're dropping these nanoparticles into the wastewater, magnetizing them. The lithium and others bind to that. They pull out these nanoparticles with these nano amounts of lithium and then put them through another process where they are able to extract the lithium from the nanoparticles, and we're creating our own lithium. Now, if you don't know, America is not a producer of lithium. We do not have a natural resource of lithium. We have to buy, the companies in America have to buy lithium from all over the planet. Well, this is able to create lithium in half the time and for a third of the cost as what it takes to mine lithium, which means it's definitely cheaper for us as well. We're going to keep an eye on this story, folks, and as it develops, let you know more. All right, final story for the night. Let's hear it for Grandma Betty Sanderson. At 84 years old, Betty has graduated with a bachelor's degree. It took her 60 years. Yes, she took a lot of time off in between. She was studying at the University of Minnesota 67 years ago, paused her education when she got married, and then with her career, and she eventually just decided there was no need to finish. She put it on a bucket list and shared a few years back with some friends that this was something she wanted to do. So she started in the fall of 2018 and has made it all the way through and graduated with her bachelor's degree in multidisciplinary studies from the College of Continuing Professional Studies there. What a great story. Congratulations, Betty. You get our big kudos of the week. Let's all give a big cheer for Betty Sanderson. There's a great little video with this one as well, and that's available over at sunnyskies.com. All right, I'm Rev Robert. I've run over, and here I thought I was going to not have enough stories for you tonight, but we've effectively taken the time allotted to us. So I want to thank you for being with us. Please, again, share this story, share this episode with your friends out in the world. Let people know what we're doing, so that we can keep sharing more and more of the good news everywhere we go. I'm Rev Robert. I'm going to get out of here for now. Until next time, thanks for being with us. I look forward to seeing you again real soon. I have lost my exit video, and I want to wish you peace and richest blessings.